Hello and welcome back to Project Seawolf. Today we're back on the boat and it's been raining quite a bit. There's a lot of water down there I'm gonna pump out. And I think today, because it's such a beautiful day outside for fall, I'm going to try a deck repair. I've never repaired anything on deck before. I've never done like the fiberglass thing over the hull or on both sides of an exposed area outside. I've had some practice now with rebuilding these storage areas with the resin and the fiberglass, and I would really like to repair the old diesel fill that goes from the cockpit down into where the old diesel tank was. Because we're going to electric, won't need that fill, and I don't agree with having fittings in the cockpit, one of the wettest places on the outside of the boat. So it'll be good to seal that up and make that flush again. Alright, so I just read through on how to do this repair and watched a few videos. So I have a pretty good idea of what I should do. Oh yeah, it definitely has the same kind of coring thing going on, so I'm probably gonna have to dig out that coring with the probes a little bit. Knock this back probably all the way out here with a grinder or the finger sander or something. So the coring is sandwiched between two layers of fiberglass. So I need to cut this top layer of fiberglass off, put new coring in, probably Divinifoam, match it to the thickness of the coring here already, and then put a few layers of fiberglass down. I think I'm just gonna use chop strand here. I don't think I need actual roving. Chop strand should dry waterproof and flat, and then maybe I'll finish off with a peel ply to make it smooth, to cut back on the need for sanding. And then I'll come back on the other side and I'll create a little bevel and a little patch on the other side as well. Okay, I got the tools out. I think what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna take the old duct tape that I had to seal it up. Oh, there's a bolt there. I'm gonna have to remove that bolt, I guess. It's always something. Always something. So, not too surprisingly, there's quite a lot of deck rot, or the just rotten wood. Let me show you. So this stuff is just real soft, like kind of peanut butter in there. At least along this side. This side is not so bad, but this is also like, I think, epoxy, like an epoxy thing that like they filled some of these holes with epoxy here or something. Maybe they put in a new piece of hardware there, but yeah, I'm gonna see if I can't find where this ends. This rot ends. Hopefully it's not a whole lot of the deck, and yeah, repair it from there. Okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied with where we're at. I used a combination of the finger sander and the orbital sander to knock back all the fiberglass on top and back a ways so that there's a surface for the fiberglass to grip to and for the patches. And I have this wacky shape of where the rotten wood was. Yeah. Pretty happy with the wood that's there now. Yeah, pretty happy with the wood that's there now. So I think I'm going to stick with this shape. I think what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go on the other side, put a bunch of masking tape down, and then use thickened epoxy on the bottom, press in a Divinity cell foam core shape to this, and then patch it over in layers with the chopped strand fiberglass in increasing sizes. So starting with the shape and then layering up, because usually when you patch a hole, gravity pushes the center down, so you want that center to be the thickest to try and get the smoothest shape. So here's the hole, and here's a piece of Divinity foam, the thicker one. So it looks like it's pretty much exactly the same width or thickness as the original core, which means I'm gonna need to grind out a little bit more of these lumps and really form fit it in, peel back as much as this wood as I possibly can, and then yeah, a piece of Divinity foam this thickness in this shape should be good, with thickened epoxy to fill it out, and then the mat over the top. I think that's the plan so far. Okay, I cleaned this area up, and I also sanded underneath, and so there's this area is prepped as well. It's so bright you can't even see it. But I'm gonna do acetone both sides, and then I'm gonna prep. Okay, I'm gonna acetone both sides, and then I'm going to masking tape on some peel ply on this side, and then I am going to prep the new coring, and then I'm going to take thickened epoxy, pour it in, get it all up on the sides and everything, place the new coring in and smush it down, pour in some thickened epoxy around the sides, and then that should be pretty good in there, and then I'll get everything prepped for the fiberglass patches. Good. So any thickened epoxy coming through will hit that peel ply and make a nice finish inside. Which I know it's not the way you're supposed to do peel ply, I don't think, but hopefully it works out okay. Yeah. I went and trimmed this piece of cardboard to fit in that hole. I'm just transferring it onto the Divinity foam. Perfect. Fill that in. Thickened epoxy. I might just slap some Divinity foam in there, just a couple slivers just to fill the space in there. But otherwise, I think that'll work. Once I started getting out all the epoxy stuff, I realized, like, if I'm gonna be doing all this, I might as well just do the mat as well and get the fiberglass matting done as well. So, change of plans. I'm going to create the thickened epoxy. I'm going to create the epoxy in there, transfer the epoxy to there, some of it, most of it. Mix in some thickener, mix that all together in the bag to make the thickened epoxy, and then start using the epoxy on the matting, so that it's ready to lay once everything is in place. Flawless planning, I'm sure. Okay, so I've made incrementally bigger fiberglass patches. Maybe you don't need that many, but I have them. And gotta tape this down and start mixing the epoxy. Hopefully I don't use the entire can like I did last time. Maybe start with maybe half of this can, which means half of the thickener tube. So you pour equal parts, kind of like the two containers. It's pretty hard to judge. I don't really like this system. I don't think I'll do it again. Oh man, and it is the smelliest system as well. So I'm gonna do half of this can. Yeah, okay, that's 14. And then half of this. Okay, that's half. So as I'm mixing this, I'm going to be thinking about how much thickened epoxy I want. Or maybe I can wet these out first, and then I'll have a pretty good idea of what I can use for the thickened epoxy, because it won't need much more than what I've wetted this with, because I just, after I get these wet, I just need to go over with the brush and brush out the edges and make sure there's enough epoxy around it. Got wax paper down to keep the tabletop from getting nasty. Okay, that was a lot more than it should have been, so I'm just going to share that. Man, there's a fruit fly in here. I hope it doesn't become part of the boat. It's very possible. Become part of the boat forever, sealed away in the epoxy. I mean, who wouldn't want to be part of the boat? Part of the crew, part of the stew. You know, I should have done the double glove trick where you put on 2 pairs of gloves. I know you guys have been commenting that I should do that. You need a ton of thickener for each batch. I know you guys have been commenting about that, so I'm going to use my new scoopy, or I could just, you know, who needs tools when you got this method? I mean, I think people will say that, and even that's not enough, but hey, that was a good way to keep the dust down. Wow. That's pretty cool. I think I'll do that more often. Alright, I need to leave a little bit for the other stuff. Now I have a baggie that will become thickened epoxy if it doesn't explode. Once it starts heating up, then really the timer's ticking on it. So the other epoxy was totally clear. This stuff is brownish. Makes a different color of thickened epoxy. So I'm gonna move you guys outside so you can see what I'm doing in the work area now. Gosh, this is the part where I wish I had somebody to help film. But not so on this channel. Most of the time I'm solo. Unless I have friends over. But they're all busy. Welcome back outside. Just finishing up this, you know, I wouldn't mind putting it on while it's still kind of thin, actually, which might need to happen so that I can get the rest of the epoxy to work with the fiberglass. And it's kind of fine, actually, yeah, because really it needs to like penetrate into all little crevices and stuff, so I'd be okay with that. I think epoxy and I have a love-hate relationship now. So messy, I never do it right, but man, I really appreciate it. And it's still very much so liquid. I hope this doesn't just ruin everything. We'll see. Wow, a little bit more than I thought there was going to be. Let that close in. Press this into place. Drizzle it into the cuts I made. This is way more thickened epoxy than I need. Shoot. Should have prepared another project to dump it on. Go around, fill with screw holes. It's not thick enough for that yet. But maybe once it thickens up, I'll do that. Here is the first piece of fiberglass. I'm gonna roll this out real good, so don't worry too much. Okay, this one definitely needs some more epoxy on top. There we go. What are bubbles? Bubbles aren't a thing. Jeez. Don't worry, I'll roll it out. Boy howdy. Yeah, and then tomorrow I'll come back and clean up the edges, grind it. This is gonna be such a bomb-proof fix. This might be a little overkill, actually. Huh. Cannot wait till I'm back on the water and away from this traffic. So sick of life on land. See the bubbles, see the bubbles. Get out of there, bubbles. So you want to roll it out from the center to get all the bubbles out. And it doesn't look like it's dripping through the bottom, so that's good. Yeah, definitely got to grind it at least off of where the paint is. Like it's sealed to the exposed fiberglass underneath, so that's really what I want. But I'll have to sand it back off of the. Well, I'll have to sand it flat for one. Like this is, maybe I used one too many fiberglass matte pieces. it's quite tall off of the off the deck, unless it dries flatter. And getting things flat. This is gonna be such a bomb-proof repair once this is dried. Wow. Like spots like these, just holes. Now that the epoxy should be thickening up, and just putting some thickened epoxy in there, I think, yeah, that'd be good. Holy cow, this is a lot of thickened epoxy. Like, I could use it to fill up a hole, like a really big hole. Okay, really quickly. So with all that thickened epoxy, I'm thinking maybe this hole, because this one doesn't have as much rot as that one, those ones, and those will require a lot of digging. But this one I might be able to get all out. So I'm gonna try to get this one out, and really quickly use that batch of thickened epoxy so I don't waste any. Gotta go quick. Wow, you are covered in dust, dude. There we go. Okay, the epoxy is still cooking, so still have time. This actually looks all pretty good, actually. So this is where the button of the button to the windlass was. Okay, the thickened epoxy is almost cooked. Oof. Okay. Yeah, the more I dig, the worse it gets. That's real bad. Not surprising, but really bad, yeah. Really bad core rot. I might have to abandon this hole and go for another one. Yikes. Yeah, I think this one's shot. Well, at least I started this one. Yeah, it feels physically wet. It's not good. Okay, I was looking around for holes to fill with this huge batch of epoxy, and I noticed all these huge holes that I don't need. So, yeah, I think that'll be a good job for this epoxy, which is thickening up by the second. Okay, I plugged up these two from below, and I mean, looking in here, I mean, it's kind of obvious why this boat still smells like diesel and oil and exhaust and just old boat generally, because all this in here needs to be cleaned. I mean, I sprayed it with a power washer at some point, but obviously it's gonna need some chemical cleaning to strip all this off. So I use all of the Okay. Okay. And I still have a ton left, so I think all these big holes are gonna get filled. So I'm surprised that this isn't starting to cure more, and this stuff hasn't really thickened up much, so I'm worried that I didn't use enough thickener or something, or hardener. When it rains, this leaks water, and there's usually like a piece of metal that bolts onto it, but it's so... but the screw holes are so messed up, and I think somebody came through with sealant or something and tried to put it in there, but it just isn't working out well. So maybe I can use the rest of that thickened epoxy and really make this solid again. Yeah, I'm gonna dig it out and see what I can do. Okay, so this the landing spot for the washboards could use some thickened epoxy, and the epoxy is thickening up a little bit. Not as much as I expected, so I might want to just add a few drops of hardener, just in case. I don't know what's up. It's getting a little bit more peanut buttery, which is exactly what I want for this, because it will go straight through. I sanded all this back and then used acetone to clean it up. So it should be prepped properly. Okay, this stuff is really thickened up now. Yep, it is now officially gelatin. I think it means it's done. Reach in. And there it is. That's the gelatin. It's pretty much fried thickened epoxy now. So in my haste to try to get this hole, I kind of just let things fall in as I was working on it. So I have quite the cleanup to do before I can call it a day. But if you enjoyed the episode and you want to help out and you want to see this boat get back in the water, you can check out the Patreon. I'll send you a shirt if you sign up for $5 and up. And if you like the episode, give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Where we'll probably be filling more holes in the deck, just in time for winter, unless it's raining tomorrow, and then in which case it'll be the next time it's nice. But hopefully we'll get a lot of these holes in the deck done. It was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a weeks-long process, getting all the rod out, putting in new stuff, but it actually wasn't too bad. Yeah, I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.